welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I'm Renee Allen, the host of this podcast. Excited to be here today. Today is the last day of 2025, the last day of the year. And I thought it'd be nice just to have us reflect on the year. They used to have those TV shows, I don't know if they still do, where they say, 2026, or I guess we're not in 2026 yet, 2022 or 1998, I don't know what years, but they would just go back and tell you the exciting things that happened that year. And often we do that in our Christmas newsletters. If people send out Christmas newsletters or update people with a Christmas card, and you just kind of give the highlights. But often we look back at the year as we look to the next year of what didn't I do that I want to do next year. I've looked in my fridge lately and thought, can you please stop buying food that you end up throwing away? I was getting better at it for a while, and it's getting worse again. It's a total ADHD thing for a lot of reasons. I don't know if you ever do this, but one, you buy food at the grocery store because you think, oh, we could eat this. Like the idea sounds great, but in actuality, when you get home, maybe you don't have the rest of the ingredients you thought you had because you didn't have it all together to figure that out, or you get home and it really doesn't work to do that this week or next week, and then whatever it is, the salad mix or the vegetables or something spoil, or you forget that you even bought them. It happens all the time. I buy food and forget that I bought it, and then when I'm cleaning out the fridge, I see, oh, I didn't know I had mushrooms. I could have used that in my eggs. I could have used that in my pizza. I could have used that in. I didn't know I bought this favorite salad mix from Trader Joe's. I kind of forgot. And now it's been a month. And the other thing that happens a lot is I do see the ingredients and I don't feel like cooking. That idea of making this dinner, it just doesn't fit in today. It doesn't fit in tomorrow. It didn't fit in this week. And pretty soon that food's just spoiled and I have to throw it away. And I hate that. It happens with leftovers too. Sometimes if I do cook, I save the leftovers. It sounds so good in my head to have them again. And most of the time, it's not what I want to eat, or I forget about it, or I think, yeah, use the rest of that, whatever from Thanksgiving and make this instead. My son brought a ham for Thanksgiving. I could have made scalloped potatoes. I like making scalloped potatoes. I could have frozen the ham. I could have done a lot of things, but I didn't. I ended up throwing it away later. I did save the turkey, though, so I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that one. I bought a turkey. I don't know if you eat meat, if you have turkey at Thanksgiving, and I may have shared this with my Yay Thanksgiving Went Well in one of my podcast episodes recently, but I ordered the turkey, smoked turkey from Texas. It was so good, and you don't heat it, you don't cook it, you just put it on the counter and cut it. Well, we only used half of it. I don't even know that we used all of the half. But I took the rest and ended up putting it in the freezer and saved it for Christmas, which I didn't use because it was one of those things like, "Oh, do I feel like doing that?" No. So I didn't, but it's still there. And so the first part of that story is I saved it. I saved it properly. Second part of the story is to be determined is if I actually have the motivation, the memory, or the energy to take it out of the freezer, let it defrost in the right way, and use it again. So maybe I will. We'll see. But that's my goal. That's my idea in my head of next year. What did I keep doing that I wish I wasn't doing anymore? That's one of them. What a waste of money. I buy a lot of food that I do not feel like eating. It doesn't even have to take preparation. I'll buy food, and thankfully there's other people in the house, but whenever you move, I don't know if you move very frequently. We moved 3 years ago. We moved here to Florida from California to follow our son to medical school. But what's my point? Oh, my point is when you move and you see how much food you have in your pantry or your freezer or your fridge, It can be a lot, and we didn't even have a big pantry. We had a tiny pantry at our last house, but we couldn't take it all with us. In fact, we shouldn't have taken it all with us, but I did take some things. We I used to buy chocolate chips in bulk. So there's Ghirardelli chocolate, that's out of San Francisco. I don't know if it's actually manufactured in San Francisco, but then there's Guittard. I don't know if that's how you used to say it, but it's Guittard, and it's either in Vacaville or Fairfield. They're kind of two cities that are right next to each other. I'll look it up. Not that it matters to anyone, but I have to look it up so I can know. And it's in California. And see, where in California there's a factory that you can go to. I never did the factory tour. It says Burlingame. Hmm. I guess it's in Burlingame. That's near San Francisco. I also see Fairfield. Oh yeah, it's in Fairfield. Okay, maybe they have two parts. The tours are in Burlingame. The factory, the company is in Fairfield. Okay, the Jelly Belly factory is there too. So when we used to drive by to go see Grandma and Grandpa, I would see those things, but I never did the tour at either one because when you're local, it's not really local. It was probably a couple hours away, but when you're local, you think, I don't need to do that. But anyway, they have amazing chocolate. If you've already bought their chocolate chips or any other chocolate products, they have amazing chocolate. And there was a woman, I became part of this chocolate network after I moved there, that some women that I knew this woman about a half hour away in San Jose who would go to the chocolate company once a year and buy chocolate in bulk. And she would send out an order to us, and you could get any kind of chocolate chips, any kind of chocolate powder or melting chocolate, or they had all kinds of things that probably bakers buy that aren't even sold in the store, and you buy it in bulk. And so every year I would buy their milk chocolate maxi chips, which are the bigger ones. I don't even know if they make them like that anymore. They probably do. They just don't have very many of them in Florida. And a bag, instead of it being like $4.99 or $5.99, and yes, everything's gone up in price, but it's like $11.99. So it's crazy. I've only bought it a few times here where I find it on sale somewhere at a specialty grocery store or something. But I used to buy those in bulk because my daughter it's really amazing milk chocolate, but she liked those in baked goods or just to eat, just like you're going to eat a chocolate bar. She would just eat those big chocolate chips. And then I would buy the 60%, 66% dark chocolate, whatever it was. And then just have them in giant containers, that you could just eat or bake with. And every fall I would buy them, use them to bake throughout the holidays. And I bought this most amazing cocoa powder. Anyway, when it was time to move, back to my moving story and how much food you have. We always went through the chocolate before the next chocolate order. We never wasted that chocolate. But when it was time to move and we were packing up the house to move across the country, we had a truck, the biggest truck trailer you can get to go across the country. And we still, I think, filled up every inch of it. At the end, they had these doors that closed, but at the top you could get a ladder and push stuff in the top portion of the truck. You can do that halfway back, and then you could do it at the end. And we filled it to the brim. But my husband just said, we don't need to keep these chocolate chips. We can give those away. And I thought, are you kidding me? Like, of course we needed to keep the chocolate chips. And we did. And my friend and I, she came over to help, and we put them in containers. We sent them across the country in the summer. It was 90 plus degrees in Florida when we got here, and we couldn't get into our house right away. So stuff stayed. Well, they wouldn't keep it in the big trucks. We had to transfer it to those orange pods that U-Haul has. They were outside in the heat. They were melted globs when we moved in, but I still ate the chocolate. So it was a success story. But back to how much food you buy. Maybe you overbuy food that doesn't go bad because it always sounds good in the store. It always sounds good on paper, online, whatever. But when you actually get home and you have to have the energy to prepare it or to feel like eating it, if you have ADHD, and this could happen to a lot of people, but if you need that dopamine hit of I need a little boost, my dopamine levels are not giving my brain what they need, and I need more dopamine to meet that need. Sugar, chocolate, fabulous way. So a lot of times before I took ADHD medication, not just a lot of times, all throughout the day, through the whole day, I was grazing and mostly wanted sugar unless I super, super controlled it. I'm not going to eat sugar for this long and, did a sugar challenge with my friends or whatever. Unless I did that, I was constantly looking for that thing to eat. And now I know why. But even now on medication, I get really picky about like what's going to taste good in my mouth when I eat. And then if it takes more preparation, it's just quick and easy is always better. Um, I'm trying to question if that's a true statement, but most of the time it's a true statement. So quick and easy is better. And it could be something I prepped earlier. It could be a leftover meal. I do like leftover pizza or pasta or something, but homemade bread, I'll eat that forever. Leftover homemade bread. I don't know if you ever have leftover homemade bread and it's dry, but you toast it. But whatever those things are for you, you might buy a lot of food that you think, this is how I should be eating. This is a good idea, or this is a good deal, or look what they have at Costco. I'll try these. And then you don't like it. And then, you just, whatever the grand idea is outside of your home in real life, day to day, it's not so great. And you don't eat it. So, any goal that you have, that might be one of yours. You can look at it and say, gosh, I wish I'd done that better. And even though I've spent a lot of time just harping on the negative, I really wanted you to explore a negative that you have and flip it. So look at, yeah, maybe that's something I want to do better next year. But you know what? You did so amazing this year. And start to look at all the things that you did well. All the things that you did well, all the food that you didn't waste, all the healthy food you did eat, if eating's a chore for you, or all the meals that you made, if cooking's not as fun as it used to be, all the meals that you made and felt good about it. If that's a priority for you, maybe you don't care if you ever cook again. And I kind of don't in a way, but at the same time, I do. I do look at that as a language of love, love language of, I love to give people food, but I get more stressed out about it now, I think, as some parts of my executive dysfunction increases, yeah, as my brain power gets worse and my impulsivity increases, then I find that when I'm cooking, I change my mind or I forget or whatever, and I can mess up meals. So it's not always fun when it doesn't turn out well. But I want you to look back and just ask yourself some questions and look back with a compassionate lens. Look through those glasses that are full of compassion, that are full of love for yourself, and say, what was this year like for you? What did you power through that you never thought you could? What did you do that was scary, but you just did it because you knew you had to. You knew you needed to. What was difficult? When did you really cry? Did you cry this year? Crying is such a good way to release stress, emotions, things that build up. And for some reason, when I'm crying a lot, and it's usually by myself, probably always by myself. You might tear up around other people, but like a good hard cry is usually by myself. And when I do, it brings me back to childhood because I think those are important, or kind of like memories that stay with us when we're really sad or we're really upset or something like that as a child. I don't know specifically all the times I got hurt or whatever that happened, but I just have memories of being on my bed and crying and, who knows? I was in trouble. My parents say I was never in trouble, but I think I was one time. And I look at the wall and just do that, and you just have that very heaving cry. It's very physical. And as a child, you're just experiencing it. You don't question it. You don't think about it. You don't whatever. You probably don't even care if you're doing it in front of other people. But whenever I do that in real life, I think, wow, your body's going through something. And now that I understand yoga and breathing, I think this is amazing that your body is able to expel this. Kinda like when you have food poisoning and you need to throw up. Nobody loves to think about that, but when you have emotions that you need to just get out, it's all this tension, all this stress, it is really a good thing to cry. And if you think of why you cry, people cry with grief, losing a loved one, seeing someone suffer, but even suffering on your own, experiencing heartache, sadness, disappointment in others, or feeling hurt by others. All of those things, or just some people are very tense and create a lot of tension in you, and it's hard to be around them or to deal with them or to work with them or whatever. And so, as these things build up in your body, you may have had some hard experiences this year and you've had to cry more than you normally would. Or maybe things were up and you're grateful for that. It was a better year, but it seems like everyone has peaks and valleys with how exciting, how happy, how wonderful things are, and how difficult it can be. So looking back at not just what did I do, like accomplish, but what did I go through? What did I endure? And yeah, what were the happy things too? What was really great this year? What am I so grateful I did? Because that can help you look forward and give yourself more of that if you can. And it may just be taking time to be mindful in a moment and really soak in an experience or let go of other things. Like yesterday, I went to a movie with my son and daughter, Avatar, Fire and Ash. No spoilers there, except for I mean, this isn't a spoiler, but when I saw the first Avatar, didn't see it in the theater, didn't care about it. I'm not really a alien science fiction person. Saw it on DVD and just thought, I think I watched half of it. But when the second one came out, my daughter said she wanted to see it. Would I go see it with her? And she wanted to come over and watch the first one with us and just kind of review it. And so she helped me understand the first one. I loved it. Watched the second one in theaters, watched the third one yesterday. But it was, by the time with the previews and everything, it was 4 hours in the theater. And then driving there and back, 5 hours out of my day, right before I go on a trip. Normally, if I were controlling what I wanna do, like, what I feel comfortable with of being productive, because I wanna get things done, I wanna get Christmas put away, I wanna get ready for a trip I'm going on tomorrow for 6 days to see my parents. My logical part of my brain would say, "You can't go to a movie. You need to clean up more, you need to catch up on the laundry, you need to do those things." But I thought, "No, this is your vacation mode brain, your enjoy your time with your kids brain." And yeah, you go to that movie, and I'm really glad I did. It was a great movie, but I have to consciously tell myself things like that, like, "Stop feeling like you should be doing something productive instead. Give yourself a pass to do this if you're fighting it in your mind." So whatever thing that you found that's helped enrich your life a bit this past year, even just being more present in a conversation and not thinking we need to go and do something, but we'll just sit here and talk. Things like that that truly enrich you and your experiences or your relationships, then one, feel good about that. Look at the past year with admiration of what you did and not judgment of what you didn't get done. I guess it is a sense of judgment of you did well, but look more at the things that you did well through that compassionate lens. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things. And I don't know if you look back on life or situations as much as I do, the evaluating, the whatever. Sometimes we don't even notice what we're doing, but somebody else points it out to us. We have a friend who says, "I'm amazed that you can do this, or this." Have you ever had that happen? I'm grateful enough to have some friends who say that to me when they say that. And I think, oh, that's not even hard. That's just what I'm doing. And then I think about it and I think, yeah, it actually is. It is kind of hard. I mean, not hard, like horrible hard, but yeah, it took some effort. And So try to look at yourself from other people's comments or even children. I don't know if you have very many children in your life, but children are just so sweet and can just I don't know, even just with the way that they look at you or they're excited to see you can really give you a mirror of who you are to them, who you are in this world, because the mirror that we look in is the physical mirror, the here's my face, my hair's, not looking great today or whatever it is, or oh, I can't believe my mascara was smeared and nobody told me, whatever it is. Kids do not care. They do not notice those things. And I lead the children's music at church, kind of a children's choir. And it's been really sweet this year. I've done it for 3 years. And there are some of the younger children, like the 3-year-olds, who I think they look up to me like I'm like Steve from Blue's Clues or something. They're like, so if you're back in the Steve days. But really, I mean, like they're excited to see me. One of them invited me. His mom said he wanted to invite me to his preschool sing along. Another one, when she sees me, she gets kind of excited, like, oh, there she is, there she is. And I think this is so sweet. I am a big person in her world. And one little boy, he's a little bit older, he's 10, he's come up to me a few times and just said, "You are so good at doing this. I appreciate it so much. I love singing with you." And of course, not every child's going to give you feedback like that. Everyone is different. But even my grandson, I thought it was really cute. The last time I went on a trip, I was telling him I was going to be gone for a week or something. And I said, so, I won't be here, but if you come over, excuse me, Papa will be here. And they call me Marma and Papa. And he was he was saying like, "Well, I don't know if I can come over if you're not here because you're the one who's in charge. You're the main person at the house, and Papa's kind of a main person, but not really. You're the main person, and I'd rather be at the house when you're here." And I thought that's just so cute that and I think about it. I called my grandparents' house. I didn't say my grandmas and grandpas. I said grandmas. I had 2 grandmas and grandpas that lived in my same town, but I would say Grandma Southwick's house. I wouldn't say just grandma's house. I guess I had to define it because I had 2 grandmas that lived in town, but I still never called it by the grandpa's house, so I feel honored and because the grandma is a big person in their life, but the papa is too, but I'm the main person, so I'm gonna take that and feel good about it. So, yeah, if you look back at your year, let me ask a few questions. What did you do? Did you do anything that surprised you? Did you try anything new? And not just like it doesn't have to be a scary thing, but some things kind of come out of nowhere. Like me being a yoga teacher, that really came out of nowhere. I had no interest, and I'm not saying I was resisting it, but I was just kind of like, oh, yoga was not on my radar until maybe 2000, the year 2000 or something. Because I did exercise videos because I had so many kids, it was hard to go to a gym, and I tried taking them with a jog stroller that held 4 kids. Didn't work very well 'cause they wanna stop, they wanna drink water, whatever. And so I started working out at home consistently. I loved working out because it was my dopamine boost. It was my whatever the other boost is, the 2 things that we need more of. It'll come up. When you work out and you get more serotonin, there it is. So, anyway, but I was working out at home. I did all kinds of workout DVDs. I had no intention to do yoga, but I did like stretching. I did like gymnastics, even though I wasn't good at it, but I like doing back bends. I like doing cartwheels. I like doing things like that. So when yoga videos came on the horizon, when companies started selling them, I thought, I don't want to try that. But somebody who was a workout instructor added yoga at the end of one of her workouts. I think it was the last 20 minutes. And I thought, this is amazing. And so I started buying DVDs, and maybe they were VHS back then, and learned to love yoga. But even then, how it turned into I was going to be a yoga teacher, who knows? It was a surprise to me. Have you had anything this year that was a surprise to you that showed up in your life? Or you ended up getting another job that you didn't think you'd get, or finding a new place that you like to go to? maybe it's not like, "Oh, surprise, now I go to this bakery that I love," or something, but just kinda like, "Oh, I didn't realize that would happen in my life, and now it's a normal part of my life." Us moving to Florida, we when you live in California, the East Coast is not on your radar. The Midwest isn't even on your radar. You're just thinking you're gonna be a California person your whole life, and so being here is kinda crazy. Yeah, that surprised me too. What scared you, but you did it anyway? You recognized that it was scary, but you thought, "I have to do this." Have you had a moment? It could be in a conversation like, "Oh my goodness, what am I getting myself into? And what do I say? What do I do? What do I" it can just be that basic, or you're actually trying something that is scary. Going on a hike and you're afraid of heights or whatever, and you're climbing up a mountain, whatever it is. But those are things to congratulate yourself about. What did you do that made you laugh? Like, did you and I don't mean like you have to be a funny person, but is there anything about your ADHD that makes you just laugh from time to time? I hope so. Or things that make you think, "I'm so sick of this." I have that too. But yesterday when I went to go to the theater, the Avatar movie, I got there with my son and my daughter was gonna meet us there, and she wasn't there yet, which surprised me because we were a little bit late. And she's usually there before me. But my son said, "I'm gonna go into the restroom." And I thought, "Okay." And I thought, "Well, I don't really need to use the restroom." And I said something, like, "I'll be out here watching for her." But then I thought, well, you can always buy time by using the restroom last second. I don't know if you do that, but if it's been 20 minutes since you were at home, you're buying 20 minutes of having to go to the bathroom again if you just go now. And so I was debating. I thought, maybe you should go now, but I thought, but he thinks you're gonna be out here. So my brain was going through all this stuff, and then what if she shows up? And I thought, well, she doesn't know we're here yet anyway, and so that'll be okay. She can see my location, I'm thinking all this stuff. So I look up, mind you, I saw which door he went in. I saw men and women's, but at theaters, they don't have doors, kind of like at an airport. They don't have a door that you walk through with a sign. They just have a sign to the side or something. And so I thought, he's not out yet, but I'll just go in. So I walk in, and to my right, I see a man getting paper towels like he's been washing his hand. And I thought, what are you doing in the women's restroom? And then I look to the left and I see a whole bunch of men and I see urinals and stuff. And I'm like trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. And it all happened so fast. And I turned back to the first man that I saw. And none of these people have faces or even body shapes. It's just you were in a men's bathroom. It all registered. And I just did some little gasp like, like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to be in here." Whatever it was. It was definitely a female voice that my gasping, whatever it was. And I turned around and walked into the women's bathroom, and I was just laughing like, "How can you be so how can you be so stupid?" And it's the second time I've done it. It's not at this theater, but I did it at a theater about 5 years ago. And I I chalked it up to it's because there's no door, but I haven't done it at a airport, thankfully. But a lot of times the men's and women's bathrooms at airports, they're not right next to each other. Have you ever noticed that? Like, you'll be going like, "Oh, there's the restroom," and then it's like men's, and you're like, "Oh, where's the women's? I have to walk farther or something." But anyway, so yeah. Have you done anything that made you laugh? Probably had multiples? Ah, I did. Just last week, I was taking my medication, and I was trying to be so careful because I tend to like, I'll have my medication for ADHD, but then I'll think, "Oh, I'll also take a supplement for, like some vitamin D or whatever." And then my fingers, they don't all touch. And so as I'm holding them, usually it's the ADHD medicine that all of a sudden I'm taking the medicine and I realize like it's not even in my hand anymore. It's on the floor. So I've tried to be more intentional, like to hold onto the pill or put them in a little bowl or whatever. And last week I was doing it and I was trying to be so intentional with my hand to take the medicine. And then there's the water, which I usually spill on myself, but it's the it's a combination of not having complete awareness in your brain when you're doing something and being impulsive or just moving without realizing it. Anyway, I get the medicine in my mouth, but somehow my hand that's holding the medicine bottle doesn't have the lid on it yet, and I like lift up with my other hand, and all the pills in the bottle went all over the place. Thankfully, it wasn't full, but still, it was, like 10, 15. Anyway, yeah. I was just like, you are insane. You are insane. You can't do this for the life of you. But yeah, celebrate anything that gave you some joy, or you did something to slow down a bit, relaxing, not being hard on yourself, looking at yourself like you would somebody else that you would be proud of, because you've probably done a lot. Maybe you realize that. But it's not just the physical things you do, even just the people that you help in life. And it may not be with like a big effort, like taking care of children and babies. That is a big effort of the physical, taking care of baby, diapers. Come on, kids, let's feed you. There's that kind of effort that you do with people, or it could be helping an older person that needs it, or someone who's injured, sick. And then there's also just being there for people, your compassion. Yeah. What have you done that you wanted to give up and you just kept going? Anything? When did you give yourself a pass not to keep going? That could be good too. So, yeah, there's a lot of things. I guess that's it for now. I just wanted you to look at your year, even if you're listening to this after New Year's. I don't know if I even made an episode last week. I was ready to after Christmas, but I thought, is anybody listening on Friday? I don't know. The whole podcast world, says you need to release on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday's next best. And I know those kind of things get in the way of my mind when I'm ready just to record and send it to you. But this is what I'm doing on New Year's Eve day. And if you hear it after, you can still look back at your year and look at the next one and just let yourself feel good about what you do. And know that there are people like me that get it when things don't go well, whether it's because of what's happening in life or just your brain doesn't function well all the time, or your body just doesn't have the energy to do things at times, or you're not aware and you trip and fall and all that stuff. Oh, last week, so today's what, Wednesday? Last Friday, because Christmas is during the week. I don't know if you do this. I even do it with Thanksgiving. And if you don't live in the US, Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday. And in my mind, Friday's the last day of the week. Saturday, Saturday, and Sunday, Sunday. If that makes sense. So that there's just it's a Saturday, so all we have is one more day, and for me, that's going to church and having some time with my family, and then you go back to the normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, weekdays of wherever that is, work, school, whatever. And so Thanksgiving feels like a Saturday, but it's a Thursday. So on Thanksgiving, I'm thinking, well, tomorrow's Sunday, but it's not. It's Friday. And then on Friday, I'm thinking, well, tomorrow's Sunday, and it's not. It's Saturday. So that's always messed me up. But then I got to Christmas, and it was Thursday, and that just feels like a nothing day, a good day, a wonderful day, but it doesn't have a name in my mind. It has just a feeling of no responsibility, don't need to go anywhere, can just be with the family and do what you want. It's just really peaceful. And I feel the same way when we've had hurricane days here in Florida. If we haven't been hit hard, we only had one where a lot of trees went over, and they did hit people's houses, but um, it wasn't devastating. It wasn't what it was in other areas. This last year, we didn't have any hurricanes up here in North Florida, but the year before we had two big ones. The year before that, we had one. The year before that, anyway, the hurricane days, they cancel school, they cancel work, like everything shut down, and everyone comes and spends the night at our house because we have a swimming pool, and if people run out of water, if they run out of power, we have a generator and we have a pool to put water in the toilets or whatever you need water for to wash your hands. We have drinking water too, but they just know we can go to Mama's house. And so hurricane days have been like that like Christmas without presents. that we all just spend time together. And then we're even more present because if the power goes out, we can't do anything but talk to each other and play with games or something. So I'm not trying to take away from the people who struggled with the hurricanes, but those days that you have that are more calm, that don't have a pattern, routine that's like most of your life, then that can make your brain think, huh, and forget, which is a nice thing, and forget that the next day you may have some responsibilities. Or the next day you might think, what day is it? Or whatever. So last Friday, this is a brain glitch day. And I haven't had one in a while. Well, that I can think of with time. But I did last Friday. I woke up and thought I don't want to clean or cook on Christmas Day. And, I cleaned up Christmas wrap and things like that, but the kitchen was a mess. And I thought, I want to get the kitchen clean before I go to teach my class. And so I was cleaning. I looked at the clock. I thought, wow, you have a lot of time. I think you might be able to get it done. And I did. And so I get to the gym just before 9 o'clock for my 9 o'clock class. And I walk in and a woman's walking out and she said, and she's not somebody who comes very regularly, but she said, we were wondering if you were coming for the 8:30 class. And she said 8:30 workout. And I thought, no, this is the stretch class. It's not the workout. And I was meeting with people just for fun. I wasn't getting paid and it wasn't on the schedule. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we were meeting at 8:30 to just work out before the 9 o'clock stretch class. And I said, oh, we haven't been doing that in December. We haven't been doing the 8:30 workout. But she was having to leave anyway. So she was leaving. I said, we're still doing the 9 o'clock stretch. And she said, oh, but she left. And so I start heading toward the group fit room, which is quite a bit of a walk. But I'm walking there and I realize you just said 9 o'clock class. It's Friday. It's an 8:30 class on Friday. And I had a text from somebody saying, is there class today? I had somebody else out there who just gotten on a machine to work out and said, I was wondering if I missed a text from you or something, and maybe you'd canceled. And I hadn't canceled class. In my mind, I didn't know it was Friday. I thought it was Monday and Wednesday and class was at 9, but it was really at 8:30. So I had a brain glitch and just messed up on the time. And that, I don't know if that's happened to you, where you have in your mind when your flight is, what time you need to leave your house, or when your appointment is, when you need to meet with somebody. And it might be something that you do all the time. It's a regular thing. I used to go to a yoga class every Saturday, and it was an hour and 45-minute class, and it was right before my yoga training. So I don't know, remember if it seems like the class was like 10:15 till noon, and then our yoga training started at 1 or 12:30 or something. It was probably 1. And so what I would do is go to that hour and 45-minute class because I loved that class, and then eat lunch or something and then go to the yoga training. But one day in my brain, it switched from starting at 10:15 to, I don't know what, it might have been 10:45 in my mind. I had been going to this class for several months. But in my brain, as I left that day, like, oh, yeah, you're leaving right on time. Good thing. I didn't set alarms then. I didn't use post-it notes then. I didn't know I had ADHD then. But I walk into the yoga studio, and thankfully, this is a teacher that doesn't lock the door. Some of them do, like, you're late, you can't come in. And I walk in and I hear the words he's saying, and I know from what he's saying that it is not the beginning of class. It's not even close. I thought, what on earth? What's going on today? Like, is this the wrong day? And no, you're a half hour late. And the class was crowded, and he's like, here's a spot for you. He put me right at the front wall, kind of to the side of where his mat was, but he walks around a lot during it anyway. But I was 6 inches from that wall. So to try to do, I don't know if you know Vinyasa flow yoga, but you do sun salutations where you raise your arms up in the air and then you do a forward fold. So your head has to come forward. And my head was just barely missing the wall. It was very claustrophobic, that I thought, this is what you get to practice today in your yoga class, is not feeling claustrophobic, not preparing what you're going to say later. Like, I'm so sorry I'm yet, because that's what I was doing the first 10 minutes. I'm like, I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm late. Like building up my story in my mind that I would tell him after. And I thought, let go of that. He doesn't care. You're fine. Because it was the same teacher I did my training with. I thought, he doesn't care. He'll forget about you anyway. But, like that I came in late. He had a lot of other people to to think about in his class. But yeah, brain glitches, they happen. When they happen, it's not as funny as maybe after it happens, but there will be things that you want to change or try to change next year that may be improvements. And there may be other things like a brain glitch with time. May not happen every year, but it might. It might. And just when you think you did everything that would help you get there on time, you may not have, because you might have a day that makes you not think it's the same day. It might set you off or something. But anyway, I think that's it for today. I think it's it. I'm going to be gone next week. I don't know if I'll be able to make another episode before I leave. I want to. Maybe I'll make a shorter one. But I know as a listener, as a podcast listener, I really like longer episodes, even an hour plus. But as a soliloquy talker on this podcast, just talking by myself, I don't usually go past an hour. Usually by then I'm ready to get a drink of water, and I haven't mastered the technology enough to stop and get a drink of water. So I usually just talk. But what's my point? Oh, maybe I'll make a shorter one, and I hope that's fine with you. Because sometimes I see someone's podcast, I'm like, oh, it's really short. Like, I wish it wasn't so short. But, maybe that's my own hang up because I just like to listen to podcasts when I can listen for a long time. But I want to tell you something that I've been wanting to do before I go. And it's an idea I've had for quite a while, but I haven't mentioned it because sometimes I mention ideas and then am not ready to make it happen, or, yeah, it just doesn't happen for whatever reason. But one of my ideas is I would like to have a podcast episode. I don't know if it would be every week because I want to get back to 2 episodes a week. If it would be every week or every other week or once a month, but where someone else with ADHD, another woman with ADHD, is my guest. And you don't need to be an expert guest. Like you don't need to come on to share this, this new method of whatever. It's to come on more to let me know something that you struggle with, and we talk about it, and we come up with strategies together, or I help you with strategies. And it's hearing the problem and commiserating, because chances are I can relate. If not, I can learn from you about it. But it's kind of like a coaching session, but it doesn't cost you any money because you get to be on my podcast as a guest, or you're doing me a favor as being a guest on my podcast. If you don't want to be on video, that's fine. I always record on video. I didn't always, but for the past 6 months, I don't know how long it's been. I record on audio and on video. If you don't want to be on video, you don't have to. You could just be audio only, and I could have you do it that way, or you could be on video with me. But let me know if something like that interests you. I used to listen to a podcast like that for nutrition counseling, and I absolutely loved it. I loved hearing the conversations, all the things that I could relate to in the person calling in. Sometimes they were extreme. They were things that's like, whoa, I'm glad I don't do that. But it still was fascinating. And I could always find something in it that related to something I did. Like one woman and her husband, they like to binge eat. And she wasn't even overweight, but she knew it wasn't healthy for her. But they would order out. They must have had good money to do this, but they would order out for dinner every night. And if they ordered Chinese food, they'd look at the menu and they wouldn't just each order what they wanted. And there were only 2 of them. They didn't have kids. They wouldn't just order what they wanted. They would order anything that sounded good. And the idea was, we'll eat what we eat for dinner. Like if you were at a restaurant, you just kind of eat a plate's worth and take the rest home. They'd save the rest for later. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Can you hear that? I don't know how to mute it. I must have the end of the other episode not muted. So I have the sound for it and the previous episode. Sorry about that. If you could hear the music, it was coming a little early. I don't have to explain the whole thing, but I just muted my computer. Hopefully it's still picking up my microphone for the audio. But anyway, it was just fascinating because they would order like 5 pizzas or 8 dinners or whatever. And she said we always had the intention of just eating one of it, but we'd always eat all of it. Like they would just binge eat. Seemed like it was every night. Maybe it wasn't, but it's been a long time since I've listened to that. But it was quite fascinating to hear. Um, and that stuck with me, obviously. But let me know if you're interested in that. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in just listening to, a live coaching session or being a part of. I am a certified life coach. I don't do that right now. I'm not coaching somebody one-on-one or anything like that. I have done one-on-one coaching in person, but I'm not doing, and I've also created courses and things like that, like classes that we do together, but it's not what I'm doing right now. Can't do it all, right? I can't do it all. And I don't even know that I want to do the one-on-one, but I thought it would be nice to do it on the podcast. You know what I mean? Instead of doing it as a business one-on-one and having to make appointments and things like that. I don't know if you work your life around what can I possibly do or not do. This is something I could possibly do. But if you think that would be great to do as a listener or even as a guest, please go to my podcast. Please go to my website. And at the top, oh gosh, I don't have it set up that way. I'm in the midst of changing things always on here. Um, so not on the top of this one. Where it says, okay, there's a tab that says newsletter. You could subscribe to my newsletter and you'll be in touch with me. And first newsletter you get, just reply and tell me because you'll have my email address. There's also, if you go to about, it says send me a message, click here, and that takes you right to my email. It puts my Gmail in the top of your email, whatever your email provider is. hello@renee-allen.com. But I know sometimes it's hard to remember someone's email address. So you can just go to my website. Don't mind that it's in the works again because I'm always changing it. And go to about, click on it. You can read about me or not. You can just ignore what I wrote. And click on send me a message, click here, and write to me and say, yeah, I would love that. If you don't want it, you don't have to write. But if I get some interest, I may even do it if I don't get interest, but because I have other places that I could go to find people who might want to be on the podcast. But I thought I'd start with you because you're my listeners and I appreciate you more than I know ooh, because I haven't done any marketing. And I've found some listeners. I'll share with you real quick if you're interested. So right now, according to one thing, it says I have 14,000 downloads. Some people get that with one episode. I have it since I started, but like I said, I haven't done any marketing for it. That's the IAB. I don't know what that means. The unique says I have 15,359. So who knows? 530 this month, but the month's almost over and I haven't made as many. So it tells you on the podcast producing website. I did do something and you might notice it. I don't know if you'll notice it or not, but Libsyn is the company that I publish my podcast episodes with. And they are always saying, do you want to run ads? Do you want to run ads? And I keep saying no because one, I'd rather listen to a podcast that doesn't have ads. And so I'm trying not to do that to you right now with ads. But the other thing is, unless you have a ton of listeners, you're not going to make many having ads anyway. So yeah, it'd be nice to pay for all these monthly fees that I have to have my podcast. It'd be helpful, but it wouldn't be profitable for me anyway. But the other thing that they asked me if I wanted to do, and they gave me a $10 off this month's fee if I did it. And I think you get a little bit of money back by doing it. I don't know what it means, but I'll see. This month will tell. Maybe it's $1. But what they ask is, will you let us put a different podcast episode? So like if you're on mine, it says Inspiring Women with ADHD. Below it, it'll have maybe my next episode, and then it will suggest someone else's podcast. Hopefully they're suggesting mine somewhere too, but who knows if they will. But I finally said yes to it. It's the power of them asking me 100 times. And I thought, well, I don't think that interferes with your life too much. And that's my people-pleasing, caring, empathetic nature to make sure it does. But anyway, I think that's it for real. Let me know. Go to my website, click about, click to send me a message, or just at the top where it says, sign up for my newsletter. And I do stay in touch with the newsletter. I will do that even better next year. That's one of my goals. Thank you for being here. Oh gosh, now I've almost passed 50 minutes, so a little bit longer than 45 or wherever I was before, as you well know, because you could see that from the beginning. But thank you for being here. I will see if I can get on before I go on this trip. I'm actually leaving tonight to drive closer to the airport and fly out tomorrow to see my parents. But I'll see if I can get another episode up for next week. Otherwise, it'll be after I get back, which would be later next week. And it will be defying all the advice of all the podcast people of doing it on Thursday or Friday next week. So thank you. Happy New Year to you. And happy birthday to my son, who was born the first baby of the year in 1994. So it's almost his birthday tomorrow. But I'm not leaving him because he's not home right now. He's in California with in-laws. So thank you again, and I'll be back. Bye.
Double chins, rubber ducks, squeaky cheese and paper cups, applesauce, Superman, rocket ships and Peter Pan, boogie boards and parachutes and soda cans, jumping jacks and pillowcases for my hands, Donald Duck and fire trucks and Pokemon, Santa Claus and Johnny Depp and Donkey Kong, chocolate chips and zippers and 914, little children jumping on the trampoline, model trains and passing lanes and super glue, tangerines and magazines and kangaroo. Oh yeah, Daily Rock. Rewind, I've run out of time to sing melodies and harmonies. I'm cut short, the silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me. I buttered my toast, spread on some grape jelly. I don't mean to boast, but I'm a chef and a good one. My grandma can't hear me. The breakfast is done, and I'm getting colder, ever older, so I run. Open windows, broken shadows. Frozen dreams are left for tomorrow. Without a cause, no time for a pause. Rewind, I've run out of time to sing melodies and harmonies. I'm cut short, the silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me.